Alright guys, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel and if you enjoyed this video. So it's pretty obvious to me that Andy Ruiz is most definitely going to be the guy to face Anthony Joshua and next, and it should be because I would rather see him as opposed to Michael Hunter, Manuel Char, and anybody else really. That's really the only guy. And I know that there's been recent reports where Eddie Hearn has been saying that, or at least sources have been saying that, what's his name? Anthony Joshua could still fight Luis Ortiz, or Anthony Joshua could still fight Joe Miller. I don't think that's going to happen. I do not think he's going to fight Joe Miller. I just don't think it's going to happen, especially with those drugs in his system. I don't think, and especially the way Eddie Hearn has been acting towards Joe Miller. He's been very disgusted. I've seen him say on numerous occasions, lose my number, Joe Miller. I don't want to work with you anymore, okay? He's basically saying that he doesn't want to work with Joe Miller because he felt disgusted, all right? He said he's went in on Joe Miller since he's been caught with those PEDs several times. So I don't think he's going to give Joe Miller this opportunity. So I really doubt, even though, like I said, there's been reports where people are saying he could still fight Joe Miller, I just don't see that happening. I don't think that Eddie Hearn is going to allow this to happen just because I think he's really pissed off at Joe Miller, personally. And when it comes to the Luis Ortiz, I don't think that's going to happen either because Luis Ortiz has been exposed as a pretender and a fake. I don't think he wants this fight with Anthony Joshua unless he gets exactly 10 million. And if Eddie Hearn does not bend over and give Luis Ortiz exactly what he wants, Luis Ortiz is going to pull Deontay Wilder and say no. He's going to say no thank you, and he's going to move on. I know we're going to wait for the counter offer for Luis Ortiz. Because I know Eddie Hearn is maybe going to give Luis Ortiz a counter offer. But let's say he comes with 7 million or 8 million. And let's say Ortiz is still not happy with that. And he said, no, I want 10 million. Because that might be the case. Maybe he says, no, I want 10 million. And then the fight's not going to happen. So I don't think these fights are going to happen. Like I said, if these fights, if any of these two fights would happen, I would be more leaning towards Ortiz because I just feel that Eddie Hearn is disgusted with Joe Miller, and I don't think he's going to give him this chance to make this money, especially after he was caught with PEDs. And you're not going to have enough time to clean your system in 6 weeks. He would still have advantages. He will still have those drugs in his system. So I just think that's not going to happen. I would give Ortiz more of a chance in getting the fight. Because, like I said, he might accept the 8 million. But like I said, I still doubt it. Because I still think he's going to say 10 million or nothing. Anyway, Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz looks like it's going to be the next opponent. And I'm not mad at this fight. I like this fight, Andy Ruiz. First of all, Andy Ruiz is more credible than Joe Miller. And some people might disagree with that. But Andy Ruiz fought a champion in Joseph Parker. And he did very well against him. So I know what level Andy Ruiz is. It wasn't like he got in there against, Joseph Parker when they fought for that vacant WBO heavyweight strap in 2016. It wasn't like he went in there and got beat up. He went to his backyard of, I believe that was in New Zealand, right? Or was it in Australia? No, I think it was in New Zealand. He went to his backyard and he put up a competitive fight. That was a very competitive fight with Joseph Parker, okay? He's really one of the only, there's not many heavyweights that can say they did a good job or they beat him. The only guys who have really beaten Joseph Parker have been Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, Carlos Takam gave him a tough fight, and Andy Ruiz gave him a tough fight. So 4 heavyweights. In his entire career, only 4 heavyweights could say they gave Joseph Parker a tough time. So that's a good look when you give Joseph Parker a tough time. A lot of people felt he beat Joseph Parker. I remember like yesterday when that fight happened, there was a bunch of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, that was a robbery. That was hometown cooking." They felt that the only reason they gave it to Joseph Parker was because the fight took place in his home country of New Zealand, because it was a competitive fight. Anyway, the point is, he had a good scrap with Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker is better than anyone Joe Miller has ever fought. So when it comes to credibility, I don't think people should be mad at Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz because, like I said, he's fought better opposition. Or at least he fought one guy who was better than anyone that Joe Miller ever faced. And when it came to Joe Miller, that was what a lot of people were complaining about. They were like, yo, the thing is, we don't feel Joe Miller deserves this title opportunity because he hasn't fought anyone. So you shouldn't really be mad at this fight if this fight with Andy Ruiz gets made for Anthony Joshua, right? Because at least he fought someone you guys heard of. You guys heard of Joseph Parker. I know you guys have heard of Joseph Parker. And and if you guys saw that fight, you know that it was a competitive fight. It was, he put up a good effort against Joseph Parker. So I don't think people should be mad at this fight. Again, people would have rather see the other, Ortiz and Miller, but at the end of the day, I feel that this is a good option. People are also talking about Trevin Bryan. No one knows who Trevin Bryan is the most unknown heavyweight at the moment. Unless you're like a really, really hardcore, unless you're Mr. Boxing Today. Mr. Boxing Today is like a guy that talks about all the prospects, right? He probably knows more about Trevin Bryan than anybody else on YouTube who makes videos talking about boxing. Because I've seen him making videos on Trevor Bryan years ago. So he's been talking, because he's like all about the heavyweight prospects. But like I said, but everybody else, they don't know about no Trevor Bryan. So that, he would get a lot of criticism if he fought Trevor Bryan, Anthony Joshua. So I don't want to see that. And even though Trevor Bryan, I believe he is from Brooklyn, he's just not known like that. So I don't want to see that just because I know AJ will get hated on if he fought Trevor Bryan. At least Andy Ruiz. And I think Andy Ruiz is going to put up good resistance. Andy Ruiz is a guy who has fast hands for a guy his size. And remember, he's Mexican-American. I remember like a few days ago, what's his name? Eddie Hearn was in the United States, and they asked him, and they were talking about, and he was talking about how he doesn't get the American. He's trying to understand the American boxing, market and stuff. And the interviewer was like, oh, if you want the American boxing public to, like you, or like if you want to have them, if you want a lot of people to like buy tickets to watch your fighters fight in the United States, he was like, you got to put your fighters in there with Mexican fighters, because in Los Angeles or in America, Mexican fighters fighting Mexican fighters, that sells. And he does have a point, especially in the West Coast, of the U.S., Los Angeles, Las Vegas over there, California right over there. There's a lot of Mexican American boxing fans, a lot of Mexican American people. I mean, it's right next to Mexico, so it makes sense. There's a lot of Mexican American people over there, and the Mexican American people, they go crazy for Latino fighters. I mean, look at Canelo Alvarez. Look at the massive fan base he has in the U.S., right? So Andy Ruiz is Mexican American. I believe he was born in Mexico, but he talks English, so he's like a Mexican American. So, that would be, I think that would be a good thing for Joshua, just because he'll be fighting a Mexican American, so he could get into that market of boxing fans. Because I could guarantee you, if that fight got made, there will probably be a bunch of Mexican American boxing fans saying, "Oh, just watching this fight to support Andy Ruiz because he's Mexican," and be like, "Oh shit, I want to see Andy Ruiz because he's like me, he's Mexican American." They're gonna be rooting for him, and like say he goes in there and Joshua destroys him, then they're gonna be a fan of Joshua. They're gonna be like, "Oh, cool. Now I'm a fan of this guy. So. Like I said, look at what Floyd Mayweather Jr. was fighting nothing but Mexican Americans, Mexican boxers for several years, because he knew that Mexican American boxing fans were huge in the United States, and they support their fighters. So he would constantly fight Mexican American fighters on Mexican holidays in May, Cinco de Mayo, and September, right? So like I said, he was just being a smart businessman. So I think it's a good move to fight Andy Ruiz, just because he's going to bring supporters. A lot of Mexican American boxing fans, a lot of Mexican fans, hardcore boxing fans who will support him, will support Andy Ruiz. And I'm telling you, they're going to watch the fight, tune in to be rooting for him, and they're probably going to become a fan of Anthony Joshua if he ends up beating Andy Ruiz. So again, I just think it's a good business move. Anyway, guys, I have to say thanks for watching, and I'm out. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, man.